The substitute teacher didn't read the class list. The list read her. Mrs. Parker hadn't planned to sub that day. She was retired, but the principal called with the voice you save for bad news. Emergency coverage, English 10, easy period. Thank you so much. She put on the scarf her husband used to call her Lucky Stripe and found her way to room 214, where the windows stuck and the radiators hissed like the building had lungs. The regular teacher had left a neat folder. Lesson. Ode to a Nightingale / roll sheet attached. Mrs. Parker wrote the date on the whiteboard and, because it steadied her, a little quote in the corner. We read to know we are not alone. She had believed it for 40 years, and believed it now, though the room felt like the sentence had mislaid its period. Students trickled in on bell time. A few nodded, the way teenagers nod to adults who aren't cops. One girl put her head down on her arms. Soft armor. A boy in a baseball cap sat in the back where you go when you want to be visible but unapproachable. The PA crackled. Lockdown drill? Then all clear, because paperwork needs something to do. Mrs. Parker lifted the roll sheet and felt a static cling that wasn't static. The paper hummed against her palm like a throat on a prayer. She started to read. Names were neat and full. Alvarez, Bennett, Cho. Students answered with here or present or a lift of eyebrows. At Foster, the boy in the back didn't answer. At Garner, the girl with her head down didn't move. Parker repeated, automatic as a heartbeat. The room listened. Halfway down, she read a name, not printed in the same ink. It had a wet sheen, as if someone had written it on the paper from inside the sheet, from the other side of the list. The name wasn't one she recognized. The room got colder around her knuckles. She said it anyway. Teachers say names because they believe in the magic of calling. The radiator hissed a note too long. The PA clicked as if waiting to be told a story. A boy near the window sat up straighter and then very still, like a deer that has learned about glass. Ma'am, he said gently, we don't say that name. His tone didn't threaten, it pleaded. I'm sorry, Parker said, mouth dry. He nodded at the list without looking. It says it every year. Since the crash. What crash? The bus, the girl with her head down said, voice muffled by sleeve. She raised her face. Her mouth was raw, where she'd worried it. They put memorial plaques in the lobby, but the list... She swallowed. The list reads names like attendance. Present, present, present. Parker exhaled. That's superstition, she said, and meant it kindly, the way you mean it when you want the room to stop shaking. She moved to the next line. The ink bled a little, as if someone had pressed too hard with a pen that remembered grief. She said the next name. The room breathed. In the hall, a locker door slammed 3 times, measured. At the bottom of the sheet, under notes, a sentence had appeared while she was reading, If name is spoken, student will be marked present. She flipped the paper over. Blank. Flipped it back. The sentence remained. The handwriting familiar, not hers. The kind of teacher cursive that looks like a road you could drive blind if you had to. She looked up at the class. No one met her eyes. The boy in the cap stared at the desk as if it contained a movie. The girl at the window pinched the bridge of her nose like she was stopping a headache from opening a door. Fine, Parker said, lightly, like a joke. We'll skip it. She put the paper down. The ink on the skipped name glistened, then slowly faded, as if someone were erasing it from the bottom up with the flat of a hand. Thank you, the boy by the window said, not to her. They read Keats. They argued about whether nightingales were lucky to sing. The clock hands moved with the decent speed of a decent day. When the bell rang, Parker felt the weight in the room lift the way grief stands when it realizes you're busy. As the last student filed out, the PA crackled alive. No voice. Just the sound of a bus engine idling, distant as memory, close as a heart. The roll sheet shivered under her palm. She lifted it. At the very bottom, a new line had appeared. Parker, Eleanor present. The ink was wet enough to smear if she touched it. She didn't. She folded the sheet into the folder, wiped the board clean, and left her quote up. In the hallway, the memorial case held photos from a year when girls wore their hair differently and car paint had different names. A little brass plaque read, "In memory of," followed by a list that did not include the name she hadn't said. When she reached the office with the attendance folder, the secretary smiled the way you practice for grieving families. How was 214? Quiet, Parker said. She slid the folder into the tray. They were good. Always are, on drill days, the secretary said, and checked the clock as if rehearsal mattered. That night, in her kitchen, Parker poured tea and opened a book she knew by heart. The steam rose and wrote nothing on the air. Her phone buzzed with an email from a sender that read, "Attendance." The body of the email was empty. The subject line said, "Roll sheet attached." She didn't open it. She deleted it. The next morning, the principal called to say thank you again, to say come back anytime, to say they were short on coverage next Thursday if she felt like it. Parker said yes because that is what she has always said, and because she believed, again, that to call a name is to hold a hand. She didn't check her mailbox. In it was a single sheet of paper that smelled faintly of radiator and chalk dust. It read, in the same familiar hand, Parker, Eleanor present. Under it, a line space waiting for a name that would not be spoken. Please like and share for more files.